Hello, welcome back to True Alchemy Academy, your space for all things ancient wisdom in the modern world. I have talked about the program that I built, the 7 steps to divine alignment. I finally got the when you are teaching people, it's really important that you say exactly what it is. And I finally put it into words. It's literally a program to help bring structure to the people who already understand the knowledge but aren't able to embody it. So I'm translating everything that you have here and helping you bring it here into earth so that you have structure with your knowledge, because it's different to have knowledge and it's different to apply the knowledge. Today I want to talk about our thoughts and how to kind of move through them, because I know obviously that we all have thoughts. Duh. I don't know why, I don't even know why I started it like that, because you clearly know that you have thoughts, like you are aware of the thoughts. But I think the thing that sometimes we lack is the awareness behind the thoughts and how much we are possibly thinking rather than being or doing. So the problem with thoughts sometimes is they kind of they almost act as like a wall. I want to make this look like a brick wall. So we're kind of getting the vibes of brick. Okay, so sometimes our thoughts act like a wall. And what's on the other side of the wall sometimes is like happiness and love and freedom and joy and peace. Now, our thoughts sometimes can keep us here on this side. It kind of looks like you're low-key dancing. Keep us here, and it brings us kind of like a storm cloud. So what happens is we think, and these are our thoughts here, and our thoughts begin to create this wall. Our thoughts are channeled into the wall. Now, if we continue thinking so many thoughts, and not even thinking, because sometimes you can't help but the thoughts to come through, but like allow yourself to get involved with the thoughts, because there are 2 types of things that you can do with thoughts. The first one is believe them, and the second one is allow them to pass. That's it. There are 2 paths: believing them and allowing them to pass. And when we believe them, we create this wall. And what this wall does is it blocks us from going here, because now we're clouded with these thoughts. So these thoughts, I'll make a legend here. These red thoughts are thoughts we believe. Negative thoughts that we believe them. There's a thought in our mind and we say, yeah, that's true. Now, sometimes when the thought passes you, it's not even your fucking original thought. Sometimes it's just a voice that you've heard someone else say about themselves, or in a movie, or blah blah blah. For example, sometimes when I feel really stressed, I imagine myself taking a cigarette and smoking it and exhaling. I imagine myself smoking. That to me is not my thought, because I don't smoke and I don't want to smoke. I've tried smoking when I was younger because I was a really rebellious kid and I basically had like free range to do whatever I wanted. And I tried smoking. I tried to be cool. I have smoked a lot of weed before. I've tried cigarettes. It's just not my lifestyle. I would never, ever buy a pack of cigarettes and then smoke one. It's just not something that I would do. So I recognize that this thought and this imagery is only something that I have seen other people do, and something that's most likely in my DNA and passed down from my mom, from my dad, from all of my grandparents. I think only like one of my grandparents didn't smoke. I imagine my great grandparents perhaps did at some point, because there are so many of them, 8 of them. I don't know, but it's passed down to me, and I recognize that this is something passed down for me. So when I have this imagery in my mind, I just let it pass. I let it pass. I don't believe this thought. I don't believe that I need to go out and buy a pack of cigarettes and smoking is going to make me feel less calm, because the result of my image is me smoking a cigarette, exhaling, and feeling calm. That's the imagery that this thought gives me, that smoking equals calm. I know that that's not true because that's not my thought. Those are not my thoughts. It's not what I believe in. It's not my thought. And so it's really important that I catch myself and I'm like, no, that's not me. This story kind of gives you the idea of like pausing and being like, is that me or is that not me? So when we believe the negative thoughts, we build a wall that brings us from this, because these things are always available to us. They're never not available to us. If negativity is available, then positivity is always available, because you can't have one without the other. If there's darkness, there's always light. If there's light, there's always darkness. If there's poverty, there's always abundance. If there's abundance, there's always poverty. Like, there's always two sides. So you have to sometimes pick what you're going to believe. So this is what happens. Now, the same thing can be true, is you decide here. Now, okay, so I have this wall and it has my negative thoughts that block me from this. Now, if I have a negative thought and I send light to the thought, or I choose to not believe it, this happens. The light goes into the thought and it dissolves the thought, and it slowly sends more light to the wall, and the wall begins to dissolve. You see how the wall is dissolving with the light? So now we have some access to these things. And slowly, slowly, the more you kind of send light to your thoughts, the more you allow them to pass, the more the brick wall dissolves, and the more access you have to better feelings. Does that make sense? It's kind of a trip, but like it's really cool to understand. So basically, your thoughts are not even yours. You have to remember that, like, what do we choose to believe? There's always a choice. There are two paths. Two paths. Believe it, don't believe it. And you get to choose. You know what? I don't believe it. So I'm going to go this way. And it creates a whole new field. I do believe the negativity, and then you go into, more negativity. Super interesting. So, because I've told you and I've said send the light to the thoughts, let me. My nose was really itchy. So, when I said a couple things in this, I said observe your thoughts and pick which side you're going to agree with. And then I also said send light to the thoughts. So, this is something that I've been practicing a lot lately. Is First of all, 6, 7 years ago, I went to a meditation course and I meditated for 10 hours every day over 10 days. So I meditated for 100 hours in 10 days. No phones, no outside stimulation, no talking, no eye contact, just so like internal. It was one of the best things that I could ever do for myself. I really, really liked it. I really appreciated it, and I 10 out of 10 recommend. Now, one thing that this experience taught me is that my thoughts aren't my own. And so I had a thought and I recognized it as not my voice. And then a small voice showed up and I knew it was mine, or the voice of God. I think it's both. Like, I genuinely think the voice of God is my voice and my voice is the voice of God. Like, I think they're the same. I hear them as the same. Sometimes the octave will change, but I always know that it's God leading me. I always, always, always know that. And so I heard it this time. Like, I heard the differentiation and I completely understood the two paths that I could take. And it's almost like when you see an analogy in a movie of a devil and an angel on your shoulder, it's like almost the same thing. Like, you either choose left or right. Like, you have to choose what path you're going to go on, and it all starts internally. So if your thoughts are constantly negative and you like go with them, then things change. Now, this is how you pause and observe, because if you like, here's also the trick, is because you are smart and you all are clearly spiritual. That's why you're at this channel. That's why you're seeing this video. The trick with being spiritual is also taking a step back and not over analyzing everything. Like I said, embodiment is really important. Coming down and being a human is really important, and kind of stepping out of this like over analyzation of this is a sign, that's a sign, this is telling me this is telling me that. Just surrender in the moment and let it happen. Because over analyzing everything, and I see this with women I work with all the time, is they over analyze every single thing and it leads to nowhere. The path of over analyzation is to nothing. It leads you to nothing. All you do is go back into overanalyzation and you're never present. You're always thinking this. You just have to actually surrender and be like, okay, this is this. How do you surrender? Well, first you have to see the thoughts as not, you don't own them. They're non-ownership. And then you have to really know yourself and say, is this something that I genuinely believe is me? Yes or no. You have to see it that way. Is this what I believe in? No? Then no. Like then no. Then you have your answer. It's not something that you believe in. The practice that I have done in the past is I see my thoughts as cars on the highway. So I'm looking and there are cars here and I'm watching them pass. A red car, a blue car, a Mercedes, a Jaguar, a broken car, a tractor, a horse. And I'm on the side of the highway watching them pass. And as I watch the cars on the highway pass, I allow them to simply go where they need to go. And I don't attach myself to them. Because attaching to the really negative or even like the really positive can sometimes just be overwhelming. And so I allow the thoughts to be simply what they want to be. I allow them to be. They have space to be what they want. I don't identify with them. My identity is not my thoughts. My identity is not my thoughts. My identity is not my body, my name, my nothing. My identity is simply like nothing. Like I have an identity, but at the same time, I don't over-identify with my identity. I allow it to just simply be. And this is why I really have a hard time with certain social groups, because I don't understand the over-identification of self with the group. Like I really have a hard time grasping people who say, I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. And they go with that group and that's who they are. I cannot, like my brain simply cannot conceptualize this ideology and this identity thing. I can't, it's really hard for me because I don't even identify with my fucking thoughts. The things inside my head I don't even think are mine. So imagine if someone says, oh, you are Canadian, so now you have to hang out with Canadians. Like I'm like, okay, cool, but like I have a hard time. I have a really hard time with identity. Anyway, that's not the point of this video. Anyway, I just think that that's really interesting. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I've learned is if a thought is extremely persistent and it keeps showing up and you're like, man, leave me alone. The one thing that I like to do is I like to actually envision myself wrapped in an egg of light. And I have these thoughts. Maybe I'm seeing them as a highway, maybe not. And all I do is I ask the light to go to this thought and purify it. So I literally just ask light to go to this thought, go to this pattern, go to this emotion in my body, and help cleanse it. Because you can actually ask light to do many, many things for you. You can actually ask the light to go ahead and clear the path. You can ask light to do anything, but you have to ask. It's not just simply done for you. You genuinely have to ask the light to do these things. And so I like to ask the light to do those specific things for me, like help me with these thoughts, help me with this, help me with that. I ask for the help. I 110% ask for the help. I send light to my YouTube channel. I send light to people who come into my online school. I send light to my companies that I run. Like I send light to everything. I send light to my mom. I send light to my boyfriend. I send light to random people on the street that I see are sick. I send light to, I saw a dead pigeon on the road and I sent light to the pigeon so that it would not be in pain as it like slowly died. Like, and I couldn't do anything about it because it looked like it was dying and I couldn't save it. So I sent it light. Like I send light to everything. The third thing that you can do is when a thought is really persistent and it feels like it's not moving, sometimes you physically have to move the thought. Now, I know this sounds almost crazy to someone, but you guys are on this channel, so you're kind of into things like that. Physically move the thought. Sometimes, literally, I imagine myself pulling the energy of the thought out of my body, swiping the thought off of me. Sometimes if I understand that the thought is too persistent, I do breath work, I do yoga, I open my chest, I go get a massage, I get acupuncture, I work with the energy of the organ, I take some herbs. Another really helpful thing is I go for a run. Like if a thought is too persistent, usually my go-to is run. I run very hard, very fast for a very long time, for as long as I can. And I just run, or I'll do like a bunch of push-ups, or I'll like physically get my body to move the energy, maybe the stagnant thought, and allow some more oxygen to move things in my body. So stagnation to me also equals like repetitive thoughts. So the opposite of stagnation is movement. And so this helps. Now, on the other hand, sometimes your thoughts are moving too fast, which means you have too much fire, too much heat in your body. And when you have too much heat in your body, your mind is constantly going, you're not sleeping that well, there are too many thoughts. This is when you come back to the breath again. This is when you sit on a chair and you breathe. And I think I've taught this in my YouTube videos before. I definitely have it inside the program. You sit and you allow the breath to touch your nose and you focus there. And you go, and all I'm doing literally is allowing the feeling of I'm focusing on the feeling of the breath. This also helps the thoughts be silent. This is kind of an advanced form because it's like every day you should do this for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day. I highly suggest sitting and just focusing the breath on the nose. It's like such a powerful way to wake up. It's super powerful. Yeah. So if you have these thoughts, I want you to remember that they're most likely not yours, and that you don't have to over-identify with the thought, and you don't have to overanalyze it either. You don't have to overanalyze your life. You simply just have to be in your body. So use the tools that you have to move the thoughts. Don't punish yourself for the thoughts either. Like I said, it's not yours, and you don't have to be like, oh, what are these stupid thoughts? Don't do that, because that just creates more negativity. Send it light, send the thoughts light. Okay, you have a space, you're passing through my mind, you're the voice of another, you're not my voice. Perhaps I'm picking up telepathically what you're feeling, and you know what, it doesn't belong to me, so I don't want it. It's very easy. And this happens a lot actually, is we're usually like telepathically and energetically picking up on other people's things. And so I want you to remember that also on this journey, that sometimes you're thinking things that aren't even like yours to be thought. Like I know sometimes when I'm around people, I can feel their anxiety, and I know it's not mine, it's theirs, or their depression, or their yeah, usually anxiety and depression I can feel very quickly, or like their jealousy, like I can feel hatred really quickly as well. Um, and I can also feel happiness quickly and like calmness. So if someone is very loving, I can tell when they're very loving. When someone is really angry, I can feel it. When someone's anxious, I feel it the most and I can really tell. And so usually I just never see those people again. Or if like they're my friends, I usually am like, what's making you anxious? And they're usually surprised that I know, but like I can feel it. Again, that's not mine. So I always like put a little protection around myself, like a bubble of white light, like the egg, like I showed you or I told you. And I'm like, okay, like that's not mine. I know it's not mine. Now that I'm fully back in my own energy, how can I possibly help this person, or how can I just send them light? Because we're all connected, and I understand that, but like I'm not going to carry the burdens of other people because it's not my responsibility. But I am going to help them learn how they can carry their own and make them lighter. So sending the light is really nice. And also I built this program literally for that reason. Yeah, I think that's all I have to teach you today. I think that this is a really helpful visual. Always happy to answer some questions in the comments, you guys. Thumbs up if you like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. I am going to make videos like this every single week. So if you're up to learn more spirituality and how to ground in reality, this is the space for you. If you're interested in the 7 Steps to Divine Alignment program, I'm going to put it in the description below. It's a very cool program. Like I said, I'm teaching you tools here, but like imagine everything I teach you here, but like 7 times better, because there are 7 steps. And inside all the steps are like new modules and new tools and videos and stuff. So I'll put it in the description. Would be super happy to have some of you in there. And have a good day. Thanks for watching.